This is the story of a man who had one dream. One, he went to his guru, rejected. He went to his guru's 100 sons, rejected and cursed. He found a rebel sage, performed the biggest ritual in Vedic history, and physically launched himself towards heaven. And God, actual God, looked down, saw him coming, and threw him back, headfirst, while he was falling, screaming through the cosmos. He still did not give up. And that is somehow not the most embarrassing part of this story. This is Trishanku, and his LinkedIn bio reads, "Visionary between realms, building something big." Let's get into it. So, first thing first, who is Trishanku? King of Ayodhya, Ishivaku dynasty, one of the most powerful rulers of his time. Excellent administration record, good family lineage, respected across the three worlds. By every measurable metrics, this man was winning. Palace, kingdom, army, family, spiritual discipline, all checked. Any reasonable human being in this position would look at their life and say, "Yeah, this is pretty good. I am doing fine." Trishanku was not a reasonable human being because Trishanku had a dream, not a normal dream. No, I want to expand my kingdom, or I want to achieve moksha, or I want my children to be successful. No. Trishanku wanted to go Swarg, Indralok, heaven, the premium tier, while alive, in his physical body, not after death like a normal being. Now today, in this body, with this shoulder, with his crown, he wanted to enter the heaven as a living, breathing, corporeal human being, while also continuing to being a king of Ayodhya. He wanted to physically ascend to heaven. The way someone books a first class upgrade on a flight they were already supposed to take economy on after death. Now let me give you the scale of what he was asking. No human had ever done this. No human was supposed to do this. The entire cosmic system was designed around one simple rule. You live, you die, then if you have been good, you go up. That's the protocol. Trishanku's proposal was to hack the protocol, skip the dying part, upload directly to the cloud while the hardware is still running, and he was completely serious about it. So Trishanku did what any king would do when he has a plan. He went to his Kulaguru, his family's personal sage, his spiritual advisor, his chief executive Brahmin, sage Vashishta. Now Vashishta is not just any sage. Vashishta is the sage, most respected, most senior, most connected. If the cosmic system were a company, Vashishta would be the guy who has worked there for 40 years and knows where every single body is buried. Literally. He has seen kingdom rise. He has seen kingdoms fall. He has forgotten many wisdoms that most sages will ever learn. This man has seen everything. Trishanku walked in, sat down and presented his speech. "Gurudev, I wish to enter Swarga in my physical body. I would like your support for this." Vashishta looked up from whatever he was doing, looked at Trishanku, looked back down, looked up again. No. Just no. No explanation, no feedback form, no thank you for sharing this idea. Let's revisit next quarter. Just no. Because Vashishta had been in the wisdom business long enough to recognize a bad pitch in 3 seconds. He told Trishanku very plainly, what you are asking is against the natural order. Mortals do not enter Swarg in their living bodies. This is not how the system works. I cannot perform this yagna. I will not perform this yagna. Go home. A normal person would have gone home. Trishanku was not a normal person. Trishanku went home, sat down, thought about it approximately 45 minutes and decided, you know what? He's just one person. I'll get a second opinion. Now here is where Trishanku makes what historians would call a strategic error. He didn't go to a different sage. He didn't do market research. He didn't pivot. He went to Vashishta's son, 100 of them. Vashishta had 100 sons, which means Vashishta also had the most exhausted wife in Vedic history. But that is a separate episode. The point is, Trishanku showed up at the residence of this 100 Brahmins and says, hello, your father said no to my proposal. I was wondering if you could do it instead. There is a long pause in the room. 100 pair of eyes turned towards him simultaneously. You went to our father first? Yes. Our father said no? Yes. And now you have come to us, his sons, to do the same thing he refused? Correct. Another long pause. To help you disrespect our father. I prefer to call it seeking alternative counsel. Get out. Now a wise person at this point would take the hint. 2 rejections, 1 family, clearly a pattern. But Trishanku was not there yet. He opened his mouth to argue, and that was the last good decision he did not make. Because the sons collectively, all 100 of them were now fully offended, not mildly irritated, cosmically offended. The kind of offended where you stop thinking clearly and start reaching for the ancient equivalent of nuclear option. And they cursed him right there on the spot. Boom! The curse landed, and Trishanku, king of Ayodhya, powerful ruler, respected nobleman, transformed into a Chandala, an untouchable. His royal robes gone, replaced by rags. His crown gone. His dignified appearance gone. His smell allegedly also gone, replaced by something significantly worse. He went in as the CEO. He came out looking like someone who had been rejected by every startup in Bangalore and lost his apartment. And here's the most devastating detail. This didn't break Trishanku. He stood there in rags, cursed, smelling questionable, and his first thought was not, perhaps I should reconsider my plan. His first thought was, okay, different mentor, same plan. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Indian founder. Now, Trishanku, looking like a man who had failed at life in every possible direction, went looking for help. And the universe, as it occasionally does, sent him exactly the wrong person, Sage Vishwamitra. Now I need you to understand who Vishwamitra is, because this is important. Vishwamitra is a former king who became a sage through sheer willpower and enormous stubbornness. He is also, and this is the key detail, Vashishta's rival. Not a mildly professional disagreement kind of rival. Not an we have different philosophies kind of rival. A generational, cosmic, deeply personal rivalry that had been running for so long that neither of them could fully remember how it started. The kind of rivalry where seeing your enemy fail make you physically feel better. Vashishta and Vishwamitra were basically two tech companies who hated each other so much that if one of them launched a product, the other one would immediately build a competing product just out of spite. Vishwamitra was always looking for way to prove he was better than Vashishta. So when Trishanku walked in, Chandala robes, bad smell, two rejections, completely unhinged determination, Vishwamitra looked at him, looked at the sky, thought about Vashishta, and felt something warm bloom in his chest, something that spiritual sages are not supposed to feel. Opportunity. You want to go to Swarga in your physical body? Yes, said Trishanku. Vashishta said, no? Yes. Vishwamitra's eyes lit up. His sons also said no? Yes. And they cursed me. The smile of Vishwamitra's face at this point was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a man who has been waiting for this exact moment for approximately 400 years. Don't worry, said Vishwamitra. I'll handle it. This is the moment Trishanku should have asked. Handle it for whose benefit exactly? He did not ask. Vishwamitra was not helping Trishanku because he believed in Trishanku. He was helping Trishanku because humiliating Vashishta, proving that the thing Vashishta declared impossible was completely possible, was the greatest gift the universe could give him. Trishanku was not the vision. Trishanku was the vehicle. This is the oldest story in the world. The mentor who says, I believe in you, when what the actual mean is, you are useful to me right now. Check your mental list. Vishwamitra immediately announced a massive yagna, not a small, quiet ritual, a massive one. Invitation sent out to every sage, every god, every celestial being in all three worlds. This was functionally a product launch. The pitch: we are going to send a living human to Swarga in his body while he is alive. Come, witness history. Now Vashishta heard about this, and he sent word to every sage he knew. Do not attend. This is against dharma. This will not work. Anyone who participates is endorsing cosmic chaos. And because Vashishta was Vashishta, most people listened. The invitation went out, the responses came back, and on the day of Yagna, the guest list was thin, very thin. Like a product launch where you rented a venue for 500 people and 43 showed up. The other sages sat at home reading their scrolls, pretending they never got the invitation. Vishwamitra looked at the empty seat and did he cancel? Did he reschedule? Did he send a humble follow-up email saying we appreciate your feedback and will revisit your approach? He did not. He looked at the 43 people who showed up and said, fine, we don't need them. We proceed. This is the most startup thing anyone has ever said in Vedic literature. And the yagna begins. The fires were lit, mantras were chanted, the cosmic machinery started grinding, and slowly, impossibly, Trishanku began to rise. He was actually going up, physically, bodily, ascending. Trishanku, cursed, wearing rags, smelling of bad decision, was rising towards Swarga on pure yagna of power. For one moment, one absolutely insane moment, it looked like it was actually going to work. In Swarga, Indra, king of gods, looked down and he saw something coming up, something in rags, something that smelled strange, something that was physically, bodily, in a Chandala form, heading straight for the gates of heaven. Indra's entire court fell silent. Indra squinted. Is that a Chandala? His aide nodded very carefully. Coming up? Mhm. Alive? Mhm. On Yagna power. Vashishta approved this. The aide opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Vishwamitra approved this. Indra stood up very slowly. Oh, he walked to the edge of the Swarga and looked down at Trishanku, who was now almost at the gates, waving enthusiastically. Indra, without hesitation, grabbed him and threw him back, headfirst down, all the way down. Trishanku was now hurtling upside down through the cosmos, falling back towards Earth at tremendous speed. And in this moment of complete total cosmic failure, he did the only thing he could think of. He screamed, Vishwamitra, save me, save me. Down below, Vishwamitra heard this. He stood up, he looked at the sky. Trishanku, inverted, falling, getting closer by the second. Any normal person would have said, wow, this did not work. I'm so sorry. I misjudged the situation. Vishwamitra was not a normal person. Vishwamitra pointed his finger at the sky, like an angry customer who has been told his order has been cancelled, and said, stay. And through his tapas, his accumulated cosmic power, Trishanku froze upside down, mid-fall, suspended in the space between heaven and earth, like a notification that wouldn't load and wouldn't dismiss. Now, at this point, Vishwamitra had a choice. Option A, accept that the gods had spoken, bring Trishanku back down, learn something, move on. Option B, get so unhinged that you begin constructing an entire new universe from scratch just to prove a point. Vishwamitra here chose option B. Immediately he sat down. He began channeling his tapas and he started. I want you to understand how insane this is. He started creating a new constellations, new stars, new celestial arrangements. He created a new Indra, a parallel version of the king of the gods. He created new Apsaras, new Gandharvas. He was essentially building a competing platform. Fine, heaven doesn't want Trishanku. I'll build a new heaven, better, with its own cosmic infrastructure. No Indra required. He was in the process of building a parallel universe purely out of spite. This is the most unhinged thing anyone has ever done in a mythology across any culture on any continent. And it was working. Up in the actual Swarga, the real gods were watching this happen in real time. And they were, to put it diplomatically, freaking out. New stars were appearing. New constellations were being installed. New Indra was taking shape. Vishwamitra was essentially doing a hostile takeover of the cosmos. The gods gathered. Emergency meeting. Agenda 1 item. Vishwamitra has lost his mind. What do we do? Raise your hand if your team has ever had this meeting. The god made a decision. They would negotiate. They would send representatives down to Vishwamitra. Okay, stop. Please stop. We will make a deal. Vishwamitra, surrounded by half-built constellations and spear Indra he hadn't finished yet, looked up. I'm listening. Trishanku can have his own realm. Vishwamitra paused. His own realm? His own heaven, his own space between the worlds. He can stay there in his body as he is forever. You get to say you sent a living human to his own heavenly realm. Vashishta was wrong, you were partially right, everybody wins. Vishwamitra considered this. This was not the full victory, but it was technically a win. Vashishta had said it was impossible. Trishanku was now going to have his own realm. Checkmate, Vashishta. Fine, said Vishwamitra, and the deal was signed. And so, Trishanku, king of Ayodhya, the man who wanted to enter the premium tier of existence, got his own realm, Trishanku Swarga, Trishanku heaven, his own personal, custom-built, compromise heaven, where he would stay forever in his Chandala robes upside down, because nobody had specified which way up he would be when Vishwamitra froze him mid-fall. And apparently in the negotiation, nobody thought to ask. So there he hangs, Trishanku, eternally suspended, not in Swarga, not in earth, somewhere in the middle, in a realm that is entirely his own and entirely useless, hanging upside down for the rest of eternity, living the dream. His LinkedIn bio writes itself, founder at Trishanku Swarga, previously king of Ayodhya, between realm, open to opportunities, building something new. He has zero connection because there is nobody else in his realm. He posts every day. Nobody likes it. He stays positive. Okay, I have to be real with you now, because you watch this whole disaster unfold and some of you were nodding along at every single step. Not because you found it funny, because you recognized it. The person who refuses every no, who finds a new door every time one closes, who mistakes stubbornness for strength, who finds the one person willing to enable their delusion, usually someone who benefits from it more than they do, and who ends up not in heaven, not in earth, but somewhere in between, not successful enough to celebrate, not failed enough to restart, just suspended, in a realm of their own making, upside down, posting on LinkedIn. Here's what Trishanku's story is actually telling you. Some rejections are not obstacles on the path. Some rejections are the path. Vashishta said no because the thing Trishanku wanted was fundamentally against how the system works. Not because Vashishta was a hater, not because the universe wanted to stop him, but because what he wanted, entering Swarga in physical form, skipping the entire process, was a system design violation. You cannot bypass the process by finding someone angrier than the system. You cannot outsource your delusion to a mentor with a grudge and call it strategy. The right mentor doesn't say yes because you come to them after 5 rejections. The right mentor asks, why are you being rejected? And sometimes the answer is not, the world isn't ready for you. Sometimes the answer is, you are not ready for the world. There is a version of Trishanku who goes home after Vashishta's rejection and asks the question. We don't tell that story because it doesn't have 5 acts. It's just a man who listened and lived right side up. The most underrated growth strategy in history, accepting that the no is information, not a challenge, not a conspiracy, information. Process it. Don't outsource it to Vishwamitra. Alright, if you are still here, first of all, respect. You just watched a man get rejected by his guru, rejected by his guru's 100 sons, physically thrown out of heaven by God, frozen mid-fall upside down and installed in a compromised realm. And you stayed for all of it. That is dedication. Trishanku would be proud. He would probably try to network with you from his upside down realm. Don't give him your number. Now, if this video made you question at least one decision you have made in the last 6 months, hit like. Not for the channel, for the 43 sages who showed up to Vishwamitra's yajna, despite knowing it was probably a very bad idea. They deserve recognition. They had commitment issue, but they showed up. Share this with your friend who is currently on their 5th pivot, the one who left a good job to pursue their passion, found a toxic mentor, is now between opportunities and post motivational content at 11 p.m. They need this urgently. It's a public service, and subscribe because episode 14 is coming. We haven't even picked yet. Entropy Reversed, reversing one bad decision at a time. See you there.